maybe 369 takes Jace as well. You got to remember that is technically a flex pick, although I can't remember the last time I saw a top lane Jace. Isn't that weird? How like back in the day, it used to be both, and then for a number of years, it was pretty much exclusively top lane. And now it's come back in the meta as exclusively mid lane. You just never see it up top. And I feel like the meta would theoretically be fine for Jace. Like, you've got a lot of bruisers up there, a lot of matchups that we historically used to see Jace in back in the day.
I think the reason why Jace has gone towards mid lane is, one, Jace has always had the nature of struggling in extended lanes because you can run down the Jace with a lot of the bruiser champions right now. I think ever since the durability patch, Jace couldn't burst out the lane opponents hard enough to stop them just taking extended fights, and something like a K'Sante is a great example of that, right? Just being able to run at you and kill you. In the mid lane, you can reset more easily, you can get your poke off, and you can combo up with your jungler very well. When your jungler pushes into the enemy jungle, the Jace kind of follows you and has, it's not quite semi-global range, but it really is that shock blast from downtown, having the ability to affect jungle skirmishes from mid lane much quicker than a lot of other champions can do. Something like a Varus, of course, with the arrow can add into that too. So suddenly if you have a big engage combo, even onto something like that Sejuani or the K'Sante, that's a lot of damage coming in from over the shoulder of the engaging members of JDG.
It certainly is. I mean, massive, massive poke composition, which will be very difficult to play into. And I will say, the Varus, if it goes down to that bottom lane, which I assume it will, like, you land the combo onto Kai'Sa, it's very difficult for Kai'Sa to outplay that, because Kai'Sa's big thing is she can move, right? You can't when Varus ults you, so it can be a very tough one. The Ivan taken off of the board. That's how you know Kanavi's been messing about with it, that you're pulling Ivan bans.
So the way I see Ivan right now is it feels like, kind of topically, I suppose, it replaces Maokai at a lot of drafts. So the Tree Bros, what they do is they look at your long-range backline and they say, you're never going to reach them. Because you put up Daisy, or in the case of Maokai, you throw down the Nature's Grasp, and you give a load of space to your long-range backline, and you just say you're never going to reach them. And that's why both of them are being banned. That's the nature of this composition. You need to have something which allows you to keep yourself at range. It's not just because they support deforestation, no.
So the reason that they're banning the trees is because JDG just want to plant themselves and fire long-range stuff. I like it. It's smart. It's smart. The 369 gonna go with it on as our top lane pick into the K'Sante, and we'll see what RA wants.
In true Atomic fashion, they have made Ivan and Maokai into a noble gas because they are Argon, and the Ornn instead is going to be locked in.
Oh, you messed it up there. You said they are Argon. Oh,
they are Argon. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. I'll think about that a little more.
You had the perfect pun. You had the perfect pun. Oh dear. Like A for effort, D for execution. No, I'm only ragging you because you're usually absolutely on point with your lines. Here we go. Leona going to be locked in here. Oh, Sylas. I'd love to see it. There it is. Okay. Mole brings out the Sylas. It's been a little while since we've seen some Sylas. Oh, go on, do it. Please go for the Lilia. We saw it.
Saw it the last time they played. Saw it against Team WE. It's been pulled out this week by Kanavi. It's been on stage. It's been in practice as well.
I absolutely love Lilia. Yes, it's locked in Kanavi. And this is classic as well. When you think back to like 2020, that was when Lilia like came into her own. She became this like dominant farming jungler. Kanavi was one of the best players in that like Lilia Graves meta. Like and I think it was Kindred as well. If I could
there was Elise and Gragas as well. That was when Sylas and Echo jungle were briefly a thing as well.
Yeah. Kanavi was a beast. That was when he was absolutely taking over the Rift in 2020. And I feel like this is honestly a similar team functionally, the way that they play and the way that Kanavi essentially has 3 winning lanes to play through and can be as aggressive as he wants to. Yeah, Lily is the perfect pick for it. And we'll see how LZQ is going to do. He's locked in the Jace. He's against Mole on Sylas for his first ever game in the LPL.
Mole on Sylas has a lot of good ults to steal, though. The Rel ult, and of course we get one of my favorite Sylas ults in the game, where you take the Ornn ult and you cast the Call of the Forgery God, because you steal it, you copy it, and you throw it back out. So see how much you can get with that one. I love that. It's second only to a champion that was banned. If you steal Ivan ult, you don't get Daisy, you get Peach. Your ultimate is in another castle. We could have had that. We could have had that. We could have been so beautiful.
Oh dear. But unfortunately, we don't get that. We don't get any peaches today. But we do get Lilia in the jungle, and we do get LZQ playing his first ever game of the LPL. And like, what a way to enter the LPL. Not only on JDG, but also in JDG's home arena, having never played LDL, having never played LPL. This is essentially like the red carpet of entering the LPL. If you were a rookie and you had to join a team to play your first game with, tell me you wouldn't pick these 4 players to play alongside.
How mad would it be, and how much of like a dramatic storyline would it be if they've had this secret player kept under the covers for such a long time? This like wheel them back out onto stage and say, well, we have our hidden weapon. I doubt it's going to be at that level, but I'm not putting it off the table just yet.
I mean, like, I don't want to make too fine of a point of it, but just put yourself in Harry's shoes and look at the team he played his debut with, and then look at the team that LZQ's playing his debut with. It's not fair. That ain't fair, I'm telling you. So far, neutral gold in this one. RA have done a very good job of staying even for the first minute and a quarter. Phenomenal stuff from them. In all seriousness,
why would you say that?
I just thought it was funny. Looking at the junglers, though, both pathing down towards the bottom side. I'm getting my stopwatch out. I'm going to time how fast Kanavi gets through on his first clear. Usually it's like you're a little bit later that you start absolutely power clearing, but even the first clear, I'm pretty sure, is damn quick.
Especially compared to someone like Sejuani. Sejuani's, you know, not a slow clearer. Most of the junglers in meta have to have a fast clear. That's why they are in meta. What really starts to take over, particularly with AP junglers, I find with stuff like Diana or no, something like Greg. Well, Greg's a little bit different, but a lot of those champions is once you get to second clear, that's when things get crazy. Double knock-up hit in bot lane, just going to lead to a hard trade.
Yeah, that's not ideal for Assum. Half HP at level 1. And that will be level 2 spike, pretty much gained by JDG. LZQ could push off of the second wave here and get some deep vision. So that means Kanavi can keep a track of what's happening. Inevitably, Jace is going to win the early laning phase against Sylas. You expect Sylas to lose pretty much all lanes early on until you get your abilities online and can start to close the gap onto these ranged mid laners. More poke coming out from Ruler and missing. As Assum now stuck underneath the tower. And I don't think this lane gets much better until level 6.
So you can see what Leyan is trying. He has skipped Raptors to try and get a little bit more combat power on the board. Takes the red buff and says, look, if I'm on Raptors by the time Kanavi's here, I lose that trade because Lilia is so good at stealing Raptors and Jace will push in. So he takes red buff first, so he has double buffs to fight against Kanavi and can not be sat there tanking the Raptors and losing a little bit of HP. So Kanavi walks into the enemy jungle, doesn't find an opportunity. At least Leyan stops the first attempt at an invade from the Lilia.
Yeah, good stuff from Leyan. And, you know, Leyan is an intelligent jungler. I feel like he's a player that has shown over the years that he certainly has his chops. Kanavi goes for the blue buff and wants to answer the play in the mid lane here, but Leyan calls it off in the end. Kanavi will go for that Scuttle Crab. Gromp still up as well, so, you know, I was going to time the speed of the first clear here for Kanavi, but realistically, it's not been the way that it's gone. It's Leyan desperate to try and get in the mid lane. He's buying a lot of space for Mole.
Well, they're also trying to put LZQ under a load of pressure and make him uncomfortable. They haven't managed to quite do that right now. That's a quick takeaway on the Krogs. Leyan, sadly not able to find anything in that mid lane means that he's going to fall behind a little bit. It means that he also can't go towards top scuttle. There's a chance that Kanavi just makes a beeline towards top scuttle, skipping his Gromp altogether for now and getting that one off the map.
369. No stranger to the Ornn. He's looking for power in the top side as Mole trading with Kanavi here, but LZQ jumps in as well. Mole's in trouble. The true damage is taken away, but he's got a potion there. So Leyan buys space for his mid laner, and Mole will survive.
Kanavi getting a little bit 1v2'd at the start, but it's Lilia, and you have the Jace to run up to you as well. Danger would have been there if it was in range for the melee synergy of Sejuani's Permafrost passive on her E. Coming into that equation. Didn't happen though. Kanavi not able to secure the double scuttle at least, but will be able to get around to second clear and really start accelerating off into the distance in this jungle lead.
I will just mention as well, Sylas, oh, hang on, all in the bottom side. Feather forced to flash away, but Ruler follows him with a hail of blades here, but Ruler's going down as well. Feather surviving for now, gets into the brush, but missing to finish that kill off. Assum with the first blood. Wanted a little bit more, he'll just be able to crash the wave, but wow, RA's bottom lane winning the 2v2.
And if you wonder why we cut off our points around bot lane 2v2 so often, it's because plays like this just erupt out of nowhere. As soon as you see jungle somewhere else on the map, these 2v2s will always find themselves a way to make the most of it. JDG, though, they don't get the clean first kill. Assum walks away with the first blood. And it's not like Ruler gets the kill on the other side either. Gonna get a replay of that 2v2. What happens here? It's Feather on low enough HP, but at the end of the day, you're using all your cooldowns into the Leona. Stun misses as well, and while all this is happening, I mean, all of the cooldowns are put into the support, the tank support with, you know, Eclipse running, as opposed to the squishy Varus, who gets absolutely deleted.
Yeah, honestly, like, you take nameplates off of that, you don't think that's a Ruler or missing play at all. Bit of a tough one for them as they kind of fumble. I say kind of, they really fumbled 2v2.
They just fumbled, yes.
massive overcommitment from Ruler after the flash dodges the stun from missing as well. But great punish from Assum. He realizes they're not focusing him. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll take a free kill. I'll just auto down. The one problem is, Ruler just died, lost a wave to the tower. He's still 10 CS up. Like, that's not how that's meant to work.
It's just Varus thing. Such a lane dominant AD carry. Heading into the first fight of the game, though. Objectives being started.
Missing down to half HP. The smite won by Kanavi. Missing down though, and perhaps a fight for RA. Kanavi in the middle of everyone as Mole is low on HP. Everyone's low on HP, but it's RA winning it out again. 3 for 1 now on the kill score. There's an all-out from Xiaoxu in the top side. 369 flashes away the Q3. We'll find the knock-up here. It's 369, I think, gets out of this one.
Just about, but has to blow his flash, has to blow his ult. Xiaoxu getting the best of the individual play in the way that you expect K'Sante to do against an Ornn. Let's be fair about that. It's K'Sante versus a tank. Despite the fact that Ornn does some unspeakable things, even as a tank, you're not really expecting them to win that matchup. Mole, on the other side of those solo laners, also got a decent amount of work done in that last fight. Stole the Varus ult, of course, has great AP scalings, and that's one of those great ults you can steal on Varus, Rel. They have a lot of value. Even the Lily ult has some useful value at points. I don't expect that to get stolen. There's too many other good things to be put into these team fights. JDG, though, they're losing out on a couple of these early fights. And as you called it out at the time, it does feel like Rare Atom are getting a lot more of these wins on the table.
RA with an early lead. Fantastic start from them. And Mole with an intriguing flash. Oh, it's to get the Varus. Oh, okay.
Yep, stole the Varus ult, gets the AP scaling, and while maybe it looks a little bit awkward at that point, gets him into melee range, gets him start racking through that passive, and Mole walks away with a huge amount of DPS out of that early game fight. Very interested to see if they can replicate that. Of course, trying to do that again into heavy frontline with a lot of CC, it can be quite difficult as a Sylas, but if you get onto the backline, they will just evaporate.
They certainly will. There was a point I wanted to bring up earlier. It doesn't feel super relevant anymore, but I just want to say it anyway. Sylas and Sejuani, extremely good because Sylas passive gives him mental attack speed, which then stacks the Sejuani passive. He's even better than most melee, and most melee are extremely good with Sejuani. It's like instant stuns when you've got these two jumping onto you. Call of the Forge got taken by Mole here. We'll see how he's going to use it on the map. And I feel like there's been constant pressure from Leyan and from Feather in this mid lane to try and stop LZQ having the priority that realistically you want when you lock in that Jace.
So what that stolen Ornn ult will do is give the ability to fight around Herald. Kanavi thinks they're just going towards Herald, but he's caught out on Raptors.
He's caught out, but actually has dodged everything. And suddenly, he's got the opportunity to put them to sleep. LZQ's moving in as well. Mole down very low. They decide to back away. Kanavi's too low. Missing. Could be caught out now, but gets himself a shield and hops out to safety. And Kanavi's like, 200 health? Yeah, that's plenty. I'll start off the red buff.
Kanavi thought that Rare Atom would be on the Herald because they had that stolen Ornn ult for a big team fight. So he tries to just go towards Raptors, steal away Raptors in the way that Lilia does so quickly. But Rare Atom call the bluff. They leave Leyan alone on that Herald. And they seem to be winning the macro mind game at the last minute or so. Leyan also, again, now back onto the map, has the Herald to put down somewhere. If you can get that into Assum, that would be pretty huge for the side of Rare Atom.
I think that's the first time I've seen a rel in the LPL actually jump over a wall. I've seen so many whiffs. As here we go. Ult onto Kanavi. He's low and he's taken down. Missing will fall as well. It's JDG. They are being thrown for a loop in this one. RA will not pull punches, and I love it.
It's another kill to Assum. 3-kill Kai'Sa. Shiv already built up. This is dangerous stuff for JDG. Despite the fact that they have great team fight later into the game with long-range, heavy initiation with follow-up from Varus and the Jace, you can't afford to let Assum and Mole take over this game. Heck, even Xiaoxu, of course, continuing to get up his own individual lead. We've flipped the script a little bit from game one, which I don't think we would have been saying quite so easily coming off of that game.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? We've talked all day so far about JDG. They just win every single lane. What do you do? RA are like, you just beat them in lane. You beat them in lane, and then you fight them in the early game and win. You catch them with their trousers down, apparently. I just wish we'd seen more of this kind of stuff from RA in the rest of the season. This is so coordinated. This is a fantastic early game. I'm loving every second of it.
Consistency really has been the issue of our, let's be honest, all of our bottom tier teams in the LPL. We've seen teams like IG take some important series versus LNG versus JDG. We've seen the same from teams like LGD as well. LCQ might get caught in this mid lane and didn't have ult though, so it was unlikely to work unless a Solar Flare were to land pinpoint onto that Jace. But yeah, I mean, speaking of these non-playoffs teams, they're still good. They're still LPL teams at the end of the day, and they can still put up a good fight when asked to.
Well, and I'm asking him to here in this one. How crazy would it be if RA took us to 3 games against JDG? I've got to say, there's a little part of me that's sympathetic to LZQ. It is like, please don't win this one, RA. Imagine how that will feel for LZQ. He gets subbed in with this indomitable JDG and loses his first game. That would be brutal. I wonder if JDG would sub him out. How important is this to JDG? Or do they just let him play? I say let him play. It doesn't affect the standings.
I think if you've made the choice to sub him in, may as well give it a try. Xiaoxu has ult. I don't know if this is the easiest play in the history of players topside. He is still a Kasante.
They can put him to sleep, though. That's a lot of damage available for Kanavi, but I'm kind of surprised they committed the ult there as he went under tower to not then follow up at all. Bit of a surprising one as Ball taking a hefty chunk. Good little trade from LZQ there. As, oh no, Feather. Not the greatest Hex Flash I've ever seen. Missing, trying to get involved as well. Over the wall he'll go. The knock-up doesn't quite connect, though. JDG have to back away. Respectful play here from JDG as they know they're behind. And look at this, they're getting even further.
And it's gold into Mole on the Sylas. This Sylas is going to be a big problem for JDG. There's a lot of good ults, as we've been saying, particularly the Varus and the Ornn. But, I mean, Mole, as soon as he gets into the backline, he's going to do so much damage. Keep track of that one, because between him and the Kai'Sa, I don't know if JDG know what's going to hit them once they start getting these items. And yes, JDG, incredible team fighters, but you can't team fight very well when one of your carries has been immediately removed before you can fight back.
I will say as well, we're talking about some of the ultimates stealable. Like Rel's ultimate, I've not really seen a Sylas use Rel's ultimate, but like a champion that needs to be able to stick to his targets, having a gravity well around them, that sounds pretty good to me.
I mean, your order of priority is pretty much, you know, like the Ornn, the Varus, and then it's like whatever's left on the table. If we get to late game, maybe we'll see that one come out and chat about that one a bit more at the time. Quick side point. This is something which I'm so sad I've missed this in this entire year. So, in chemistry, there is actually a thing called a mole. And a mole is a group of atoms. It's something like 6 × 10 to the 23 atoms in a group is called a mole. The fact that mole has ended up on rare atom, and I hadn't noticed that for the entire year, has actually made me quite upset, Bunch, because I could have been talking about this the entirety of this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great point. It's so relevant to,
Thank you.
To everything
for
we
me,
do in
it's
League
very
of Legends.
important.
Did you know a mole is also...
It's an animal that digs in the ground?
Yeah, it's a blind animal that digs in the ground. Very cute, but also sometimes kind of hideous. It really does depend on the mole, I have to say. I've looked at images of moles online. You'd think that they're cute. Some of them really are not cute. But a lot of them are really cute. Anyway, good at digging, which I am currently doing, digging myself into a hole. Moles also double agents. 369 looking to be a double agent as he TPs in. Kanavi doubling up his damage on 2 players. Xiaoxu doubling up on towers.
Incredible.
I mean, none of this is relevant to double agents, but
so the thing about the
towers
double
being
agents
taken.
thing, so there is actually a thing about that. You know, Mole wasn't a term until an author made it popular, and then spy agencies started using it because it was made so popular through authors. We might see ourselves engaged to bring us away from literary talk, but funnily enough, that is actually a relevant thing.
Was it the guy that wrote Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
I think it was that guy. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the author because I'm sadly not that well read.
We really should know that as...
How can we not research that for this day of League of Legends?
Well, no, that's just like it's like classic British knowledge, isn't it?
That's true. That's true. Because, like, you know, obviously you've got like, yeah, I mean, you have like your James Bonds and you have your
John Le Carre. It's John Le Carre, John Le Carre, John Le Carre.
I'll take your word for it.
What do you mean? You've never heard of that guy?
No, I've never heard the. So I've seen the name written down. I've never heard it said. You know, it's like there are so many words in the English language which you've never heard said out loud, and then it's like, wait, that's how you spell. That's how you say, like, I don't know, like disposable. I mean, that's a really bad word. I don't know. What would be a bad? What's a hard word to say on paper? Something like that. Yeah. Like I've never heard that said before.
I think it's John Le Carre, I believe, is his name, but he's like one of the like grandfathers of the spy genre, basically.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we should have known that by memory, or at least I should have known that by memory. My fiance is a writer. She reads like every book ever written, basically. So I really should have known that. I've talked about this guy a lot. Nightmare. And you know, I'm questioning everything in my life now. You know, who am I?
I'm glad that LPL comes with a side dosage of existential crisis for you. I like to be able to challenge you in that way.
So I will say, to go back to our original point and a bit closer to the game, a mole also a little brown spot on the skin.
Jesus Christ, man.
Just bringing it back to the
Lovely.
conversation. It's called topical
he's
humor.
not on the play right now. He does have himself a teleport to get into a play. Dragon has spawned. Might be able to bring himself into the play and be that double agent in the way that Sylas hijacking an ultimate can be. Finally, bringing it back to League of Legends. This would be a gripped up fight in a way that we haven't seen it so far, and Sylas is entering the building.
5v5 fight with JDG, 2,500 gold down. How often do you get a chance to see that? RA, what have you got? Let's see your take on JDG. Feather chunked out there as 369 looks to the corner of the Forge, got across the team here. The smite fight for the Drake, but it's taken by Ruler. He's got a kill on top of it as well, as Mole has found himself alone. Missing's gone down, he's buying space for Mole, who actually gets out, but everyone flashes onto him, and he's taken out anyway. It doesn't matter if you've got a gold lead. This is Jindong Gaming.
The secret agent can't get it done. It's not going to be the literary fancy, I suppose, that Rare Atom were looking for, because 369 saw that Mole was looking for his ultimate and just outspaced him. Fires off the ult the first from out of Fog of War, and Mole can't do the same to disengage JDG. We were worried that JDG wouldn't be able to team fight well because someone would get deleted at the start of the fight, but they were the ones that started things on their own terms, and Rare Atom, they fumbled this gold lead now. We're walking away from that fight with a much more even game than we had before it, and especially now that JDG are even-ish on gold and they've got Dragon advantage, the mid game is going to be much harder for Rare Atom to execute on.
Fantastic fighting. The one thing I will say, Assum, 4 kills, didn't die. He is the shining light for RA. But hey, JDG, I mean, closing that gold gap again. Let's take another look. Missing went on a mission in this one.
He did, but I mean, the first big ultimates land from JDG. It's not Rare Atom starting things on their terms. And 369 avoids Mole for the entirety of this fight, doesn't get his ult stolen until it doesn't matter, and then has just got a 3-man ult across the team. And yeah, you know, I mean, Missing ends up getting dragged over the wall by Xiaoxu. It's a bit awkward at that point, but because Rare Atom couldn't set up well enough, they were second into the river and Mole couldn't get enough done with the stolen ults. JDG walk away with one fight in a very difficult situation. We were calling for them before that.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. As you'd expect from JDG. And you want to know what else is phenomenal stuff, Nymera?
Yeah.
I've googled it, and mole was
Yeah.
a term that was invented by John le Carre. So we've
I
absolutely
knew that was
smashed
someone
it.
that did it. It comes back full circle. Incredible.
We've absolutely smashed it there. Great little combo of knowledge there. You know the term, I know the author. Well, that's how this duo works. You know, neither of us knows anything in full. We both know half of all trivia.
We could make our own detective or like spy novel where it's like two casters become the perfect secret agent, but only when they're working together because neither of them know anything.
We're like someone's tied to a chair being interrogated, and they're like, "Where's the location?" It's
where's
like,
the secret base? I don't know. I've got the first half of the coordinates.
Here we go. Another fight as RA look for another attempt. Kanavi the target this time, and he's low, but it looks like he'll get out of this one. Xiaoxu behind enemy lines, but the all-out is onto Ruler here. Can they finish the AD carry off? Ruler flashes out safety, but Xiaoxu chases him down, and Rare Atom looking good for more. LZQ falls as Xiaoxu is answered, but Kanavi still alive. He's a carry in his own right. 369 has kicked Assum out of the fight. Leyan will be chased down and finished off. JDG, the bot lane, the mid lane, both taken out, but it doesn't seem to matter.
The name's Navi. Kanavi. The secret agent was in the jungle, I guess. The Lilia pick. How could we overlook this? It's an extra damage threat. I think Rare Atom are very lucky that one of the carries didn't live through that fight. Otherwise, Baron would have been gone with it, and that would have been game. Now, they did manage to take down a couple of kills. That's very important for them. But considering that this fight is happening from technically still at a goal disadvantage for JDG, these are big moments for them. Rare Atom, they wanted to be playing from a gold advantage, and yes, Assum hasn't died just yet. The more this happens, the more inevitable it feels like JDG are going to reach items with Ornn upgrades, and this fight is going to be even worse for Rare Atom. Going into replay to see how this happens, you can see, 369 gets the ult again, and this Ornn has been utterly monstrous in the last few fights. Double 3-man Ornn knockups in both of the last big fights.
Assum diving in to try and get that damage down so Xiaoxu could find the kill, but it gets really messy here, and that Duskblade proc is enough to turn the kill around onto Xiaoxu. The fact that LZQ manages to get that Duskblade proc off just in time maybe was enough to turn the fight around. And now, speaking of the Duskblade, it's been upgraded by 369. He's starting to get those all upgrades through.
Can you remember the name of it? Can you remember the name of it? Do you know the ornament names? I don't know that one. That's the one I don't.
I don't know. I know Galeforce is Typhoon. Oh, hang on. LZQ, welcome to the LPL, my son. Gets a solo kill onto Mole. Lyric in absolute shambles.
Just had to call him out while he was ill, didn't you? LZQ gets the upgraded item, which we don't know the name of, but he uses it as a secret weapon to take down Mole. Go use those extra stats to their advantage. JDG.
Twilight Blade, maybe?
Something. You know what? I will Google it at some point. 369 is just kind of goalkeeping around this dragon. I mean, JDG could rush Baron at this point. There's a teleport from LZQ. There's a lot of damage available. Of course, you have so much percent HP from the double burn items of the Lilia. I mean, Rare Atom, they need to get hit fast.
Yeah, JDG, they might just be able to grab themselves the Baron for free here. Great quickness across the team here. It's not quickness, that's a Leona, but Assum's dived in and shredded everyone. 369 on the backline trying to do something, but Kanavi's taken out. And suddenly RA are back on top.
JDG, they don't pull the trigger early enough around the Baron start. They don't manage to finish it before Rare Atom get there in time. And the fights, which we were saying were feeling inevitably JDG favored, well, I mean, we've just been slapped in the face by Rare Atom, completely throwing things out of whack again. Assum has still not died. They're going to walk away with a huge victory after this one. And the big thing about this is just look at the HP of Baron. If they started this 5 seconds earlier and been a bit more decisive about it, it could have been absolutely huge. But they don't manage to finish off the fight. They don't manage to finish off the Baron. They were tanking it. Mole, Assum, everyone gets into such a great place to stop JDG being able to turn and fight.
RA assumed they could deal with this, Kaiser. They were wrong. Absolutely shredded in that one. Fantastic fighting coming out from RA. And again, now in the lead once more. 3,000 gold lead for RA. 2 Drakes apiece at this point. And crucially, I've learned the name of the Ornn item. I feel like I'm just going down a rabbit hole today, but there's no way I would have remembered this ever. I have read them all once, but it's Drakthar's Shadow Carver.
I had also just pulled up another tab on my browser to figure that one out as well. There are some weird and wonderful names in there. I think my favorite is Wormfallen Sacrifice from the Kraken Sled. We no longer get that one anymore, though. And LCQ, we're not going to get him either. He's completely dead.
I mean, he's been carved into the shadows himself now as Xiaoxu was tanking up that tower just a little bit too long. That's the power of a Rel and an Ornn right there. You do not get to move. Sleep is available if they want to try and go on to Leyan here, but not sure that's necessarily the best target.
The AP Kai'Sa doing an awful lot of work with the reset Ws now. They're all funneling up. They're getting hit time after time by the Void Seekers, which is taking a good amount of HP from them. And sadly for the side of JDG, they haven't really been able to break open the Baron push from Rare Atom. They have themselves a decent power play from it. And yes, they take down Xiaoxu. That's something. It stops Rare Atom from being able to play on multiple lanes. They're still falling behind in this game. And we're getting to a point now where you have to be very worried about the burst combo from JDG not landing before, again, someone gets completely taken out of the equation. This time it just so happens to be that Jace. And with the Kai'Sa and also the Sylas being so strong, if anyone is in range to follow up on Feather's engages, this is the sort of play that happens.
Yeah. That was sick, actually, from Feather and Assum. That was a sick little play. Sneaks in, sets up for the Kai'Sa ult to find the kill onto LZQ. Really, really clean stuff. And RA, again, like, where has this been all year? Fantastic to see them popping off in the way that they are. Missing in the brush now as Feather moves on forwards. Drake up in just under 2 minutes, so not going to be a target for now. So they look towards the mid lane. They've got that Baron buff for 20 seconds more as the Ornn flies across, but it's going to be LCQ found again. What is that damage?
Welcome to the LPL, buddy. Gets himself a solo kill, and Rare Atom take offense to that and throw absolutely everything and the kitchen sink at him. Now suddenly you've got Hex Flash from Feather. He could start off a fight here himself.
Here we go. Engage, kicks on through. Is Feather trying to escape with his life? Will be able to do so. Damage coming out. Mole dives into the backline, but Ruler flashes away. Missing's down, though. And again, RA finding fights here.
JDG, they're getting picked off a fair amount here. It feels like they're not used to playing so far into their own jungle. Rare Atom, they have so much engaged to fly over walls and join the fight. Solar Flare, Kai'Sa, Sylas rocking over a wall as well and stealing ults to engage from range. You see the Baron power play ends up at just over 2,000, but that's 2,000 which you probably wouldn't have owed Rare Atom before that big fight, which got them the Baron itself. Suddenly, because they're ahead of the curve with such bursty champions, this is a very different game now from if they had been behind instead.
Yeah. I want to give you a quick update on something I mentioned earlier as well, and that is that Lyric has messaged me on Discord, which other instant messaging apps are available. He told me he was in shambles earlier on when Mol got solo killed by LZQ, but he is no longer in shambles, and rightly so, because RA are 4,000 gold up in this game right now. Drake coming up in 5 seconds time, and off the last couple of team fights, you gotta believe that RA are the ones with their foot on the accelerator. They're the ones that should be in charge of this, Drake.
Remember kids, take care of the super fans of the players, not just the players on the Rift as well. Spare a thought for them as you see them playing. Mol walking forwards, seeing what he can do.
It's a bit of whiffage coming out as the call of the Forge God comes out from Mol as well. It's just a little bit of damage, not much of anything. That is the hijack and Sejuani on cooldown now. JDG, this could be their opportunity to muscle in, but perhaps could look towards the mid lane instead. Feels like they want to contest this Drake, though. Feather behind enemy lines is the Drake. Solo, it's just going to be taken down before the fight can even kick off. Feels like JDG, they just want the fight itself, but 369 is already low. Feather turns golden to buy time as 369 getting the knock-up. Assum is down. The president has been taken out of the picture. Leyan getting chased now as Kanavi and missing. Still full HP for now, but it's the 3v4. RA with the numbers advantage, but Kanavi is kind of popping off here. The dots are ticking, and RA are running out of health bars. The Lilia comes on through, and Kanavi with a vintage performance. 369 chasing for Xiaoxu as well, but he'll get under the tower. He'll get out to safety.
Oh dear, how could you forget about the deer in the jungle? It's full burn damage with the empowered Leandri's Anguish as well. The upgraded one given to him courtesy of the Ornn in the top lane does so much work. Despite of the fact, again, that Rare Atom killed the carries, there is a third one. There is another hope left for JDG from the jungle. starts off pretty well for Rare, all things said and done, when you look at the way that Mole manages to completely destroy LZQ. Like, doesn't get to play out this fight. Mole absolutely eradicates him. And also then you look at Ruler being completely isolated because the Jace dies. The front line and the back line get so separated. But then you realize, again, oh wait, that's a lot of move seeds stacked up on the Lilia. There's a lot of Conqueror stacks stacked up on the Lilia, keeping churning through that. And by the time it reaches this part of the fight, you never get to escape that combo.
Yeah. The Leandri's Anguish doing so much work for Kanavi. The burn is insane. Now 3 items on the Lilia, 3 items on the Jace, 3 items on the Varus, with an upgraded Riftmaker as well. You have to wonder, RA, can you do it? I want to see them do it. They've had the lead for so long. They're still 1,000 gold up, and Xiaoxu finds the knockback onto 369, but he's so tanky. He's practically invincible. Knockback on the rest of the team here, but into the meat grinder they go. And JDG not tanky enough, because Mole's got a double kill of Feather, finding more, but Kanavi's still alive again. Surely not again. Kanavi cutting through them, but Assum turns it around instead, and it's Leyan to find the flail of winter. RA find themselves an ace.
They are not done yet. Rare Adam taking JDG to the edge. Substitute mid laner might have been a step too far for JDG to overlook this Rare Atom team. Assum does so much work when he is left alive. It has been a battle of seeing who has enough damage left over after the initial barrage has been thrown in these team fights. Last time it was Kanavi coming up tops. This time it's Assum on the Kai'Sa, who now goes back, buys a Medjai's, buys a Void Staff, and is absolutely popping off on this Kai'Sa. Let's have another look about how this ends up happening. Xiaoxu becomes the front line, drags the Ornn out of position as much as they can.
Oh, that's
and while all this is happening, the Solar Flare is absolutely huge. Missing doesn't get onto Assum either. And Assum is full HP with double buffs at this point. What do you do? It's stacking up so much damage, and the sleep, again, is not quite enough to reach the backline, as the same as the rest of the engage coming through from JDG. Assum doing his best to keep his team in the game.
Yeah, Xiaoxu saving the day there with the flash knockback with a Q3. That felt like it was going to turn in favor of JDG, but Ruler gets taken out, assassinated by Xiaoxu. And JDG really being pushed to their limits in this game. Massive gold lead for RA. Massive fight wins for RA. And it does feel like small mechanical outplays, like Feather. Fantastic start to the fight. Mole doing huge damage. Xiaoxu making the big play. And obviously Assum is just clean in-house.
Damage onto Ruler is huge from that Kai'Sa W. We are at late game Kai'Sa territory. You're stacked up on all of your abilities now. So E, W, maxed out almost. One last skill point to put through. If one of those Ws lands, be prepared to see if there's going to be an Alt W follow-up to guarantee that passive proc.
That's going to be Mole using the hijack. Obviously, your ults do time out, so you just use it on the last second. Kind of like the Herald when you see it slammed in a random place. It's usually that it was about to time out, you know. Yeah. As RA in a phenomenal position with Drake coming up in 30 seconds as well. They move over towards the river. And, you know, we start Nightmare with this cast being like, oh yeah, kind of lackadaisical. LCQ's been subbed in because JDG are so confident. And RA have taken that as an opportunity. And now are taking the LPL's favorite to potentially 3 games if they can just finish this one off. Leyan and Mole contested for space.
Certainly trying. So, Ruler has himself a mythic item. It's been upgraded. The Akathia's Curse on the table for this AP virus. If the ult lands, the follow-up arrow that comes through is going to be absolutely outrageous. So JDG, they have enough stats to fight this with. This game is not out of control for either team so far. It has felt like it's outplays. Who's got it left on the table? Both teams in river contesting position.
It's a Cloud Soul on the table for whoever gets this. Well, no, actually, just for RA. As Assum finding those W's, playing so far back, waiting for his opportunity, dives in and instantly knocked up. 369 has found him. It's all gone pear-shaped. It's all gone a bit Pete-Tong, RA. It looked so good for so long, and they just get eradicated.
And Assum just flies into his death for such a good game from the Kai'Sa. Assum, in the most pivotal moment, can't get it done. JDG, they outlast the storm, and LZQ has been a bit of a rocky road. I think they're just going to wait for his debut.
It's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy here at the LPL. As JDG, they just need one fight win. That's all they need. A clean ace. Well, what was it? 6,000, 5,000 gold down? That's enough for them to end the game. And you can see on the player cams after that last fight, the faces of the RA players just devastated, and rightly so.
And that double agent, Tinker, Taylor, Soldier died, couldn't get it done. Second game goes to the side of JDG. Had to get you back one time. Rare Adam, I mean, this really sums up a lot of their year for them. Bright sparks, but not really able to go the distance enough to really come away with game wins and series wins. They've had good individual performances. We talked about Mole for great amounts of that game. Strive as well, the other mid laner for the team, has had some bright moments for that roster. Assum in that game. Xiaoxu across most of this year has had some good moments, but you can't afford to slip up against a team the caliber of JDG, substitute mid laner or not.
Yeah, you see the nervousness there for LZQ on the stage. The team kind of pushing him